flipping back the calendar to examine notable films throughout cinema history, the good, the bad, and everything in between. This is Movie Review Rewind on Nashville Movie Dispatch. Welcome back for another episode of Movie Review Rewind here on Nashville Movie Dispatch. I'll be your host for the show, the EIC at Sobros Network, Big Natural Stoney Keeley. You can follow me on social media at Stoney Keeley, collectively at Sobros Network, and of course all of our work at NashvilleMovieDispatch.substack.com. Joined as usual by my co-host, my regular co-host for Movie Review Rewind. He is a board member of the Music City Film Critics Association. He is a member of the Southeastern Film Critics Association. He's our resident film critic here at Nashville Movie Dispatch, Mr. Big Shot himself, Brandon Vick. Brandon, how you doing today, my man?
Doing good. This time of year, always think about sweaty balls.
Well, it is August.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Enough said in Nashville, Tennessee.
I'm curious your opinion. Worse weather month in Nashville, Tennessee, August or January?
Now, I say August because I don't mind cold weather. Mm-hmm. I don't mind ice storms. I don't mind
you
snow.
Get you lose power. You're scared for your life.
Well,
you're out for a week.
I only lost power for 12 hours, so these other pussies need to suck it up.
Okay, that's good.
But
that'll go over
I'm fine. You can clothe yourself blankets, but when it's hot, it's hot.
There's nothing
and when
you
are just butt-ass naked and you're still hot, what are you going to do?
Well, ice water. Getting an ice bath.
Like an ice plunge.
Yeah, ice plunge, yeah.
I think there's an in-between. I think the spring with the storms, tornadoes,
that's a good point.
In this area.
It's a good point, yeah.
Well, listen, that's Brett, and Brett's birthday is in August.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, but I have a question, because Stoney always was lucky. You always had your birthday in the summer.
June 29th.
Mine's in September. It was always after school. So
Yeah.
But you sort of got to have it, and then it ended up where we did start school like August 3rd.
Yes, yeah. When I was younger, school started later, so I was.
It's like in the middle of August, right? That's real.
Or late August, something like that.
Yeah.
But
high school was early August,
right?
And then college was borderline Labor
and so
Day.
I was
college,
in school.
You played basketball all year. You didn't really go to class.
That's right. So, I do remember that.
Yeah, I would watch it. I would pick up my blinds, and he'd be playing one-on-one with someone. I thought, I guess he doesn't have class today.
I did. I just didn't go.
Yeah, it's a pleasant day.
I remember what you're saying. Like, I get the reference you're making, but for a moment, I thought you were saying he was on the MTSU basketball team.
He should have been. There was a time where him and I played, and people came over and they'd taken the court, and we just sat there and said, I guess we're being pushed out.
That's right, yeah.
But anytime it was a nice day, Stoney you really couldn't count on him going to class and taking the shuttle.
It was tough when it got to the spring.
And actually, sometime this past whatever, you made a comment. Someone said about doing something during school. You're like, yeah, man, I'm like, anytime it was nice, we could shoot the ball. And I thought, this guy, like, you're going to say, hey, you have a test? Shoot some hoops first.
I was a little cocky in college, and I thought to myself, I'm good enough at everything that I do that I can skip class and I'll still be all right in this class. And
when you graduated a year later,
what happened was one day I showed up to class for my drugs and alcohol class where the entire grade for the entire semester was based off of 3 test scores.
Wow.
And I showed up to class one day after playing basketball at our apartment complex because it was a nice day, deciding I'm not going to go to class today.
Yeah.
I showed up to class the next time, and there were test scores posted on the wall. And I realized I skipped class on a day that there was a test in a class where our entire grade... You know what's frustrating about that is that my other 2 test scores in that class prior to that point were a 98 and a 96. And
that's what it is. That's how they get you.
And then I got a 0 on the 3rd one and failed the class.
Yeah.
I remember
the average
I was
is not
very
great.
jealous.
Yeah.
I was quite jealous of you two because either Stoney had like pure confidence in the classes you were taking where like you would just like, you know what, I'm going to skip this class and go catch butterflies.
Yeah, and then I would get a C or a B in that class.
And then, but even worse is Brett would, and sometimes we're in the same class together, and it's like you study, let's just say 2 nights before, and we would get our test scores, and I would get like a C, and you would get an A-. I'm like, God.
This son of a bitch.
Like, this guy, like I feel like going up to the teacher and say, hey, just so you know, this fucking guy is not even studying.
He's not even studying.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
We all have our gifts.
It is. No, and you did. And I have said this to my wife before. I said I would be jealous. I would really be jealous of Brett. I was like, and Stoney had his own thing too, where like you just clicked with it. I was like, but if Brett and I were in the same class, it was almost a curse because it's not that I thought I could do better than Brett, but I didn't. The effort I put in the weeks that tried to memorize, and I know he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But when he comes back, and especially writing, you were always really good at the writing classes. And you come back, and it was like, even as A- or B+, whatever it may be. And I'm just like, I couldn't get there. And I'm just like, God dang. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And like, remember the science class we were all in, which was a shit
Dr.
show.
Wakeed.
Which was a shit show to
Dr.
begin
Wakeed,
with.
yeah.
So to get any kind of decent grade, but I'm like, oh my gosh. And like, and because in high school, I didn't study that much. Memorization, aced it, moved on.
Mm-hmm.
And college was a bit of a wake up call where like, oh, I do have to put in more than maybe like the other people.
You were very diligent.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
And part of it was OCD, I think, now that I'm gotten older. And I think and there's the parts of me that just knew. Like, I do remember recognizing that you guys, like, some things I could do and some things I couldn't do that you guys could. And it was a figuring out process, which I think college was great for. I don't think it's great for a lot of things, but I do think it kind of woke me up to like, okay, you know what? These guys can do it in a week. I need an extra week. I've got to do this. I've got to read.
But then also, this guy got a 0 on his test because he was playing basketball
Correct.
in the apartment
But then,
complex.
let me say, I would say, oh, it's a sunny day outside.
this is where I laugh.
See ya. See ya.
I will say, I do remember you had to have somebody proofread all of your papers.
Oh, and I
back
think
in the
Brett,
day.
and Brett did a lot of them, and
I
did, but Brett did a lot of them.
I remember at the time thinking, like, he always goes to Brett. I think he thinks I'm stupid.
Oh,
but then I thought, oh, but this is Brett's problem to deal with.
But here's the thing. I never thought that, but I knew that he knew.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, Stoney's catching grasshoppers. I don't want to bother him. Brett could do it at 8:00 at night after Guitar Hero, and we'll be good.
Oh man,
and he
Hero.
does, and I did. I relied on both of you guys. I think a lot. Where my confidence has kind of grown since then, but like, oh yeah, there's things where I know I asked you to do. I know I asked you to do a lot in that, and you could read it. But the thing is. And both of you were good, but Brett, you could read it very quickly and say, hey, this, and this. And it was very simple, but I knew like, oh,
whereas
he could feed it.
If you handed it to me,
right. I say, you need to put down your basketball. Remember, you're not playing racquetball. We would go play racquetball. That was fun.
I would say, hey, man, this is good, having not read a single word of it, so that I could go play basketball.
This looks fine. I got some friends that play badminton. I hope you agree.
In fairness, I was pursuing like a writing
concentration. You were in journalism.
Which, ironically, the two of you may do more in the field of one of you absolutely does in the field of journalism than I do at this point.
That's
in
true.
life,
Yeah,
but.
you were journalism, sports psychology, and
just regular psychology.
And I did mass comm with a minor in film studies. So there is some truth to that. But I even remember telling my wife, I'm like, I'd have these two guys. Like, y'all weren't even in the class I was in. And I said, hey, can you read that? But there was always a running joke about if it was a pretty day, you couldn't find Stoney.
I mean,
now listen, he may just be right over here in the apartment, or he may have been on campus. He didn't go to class.
There were times, I'm not even sure if you guys are aware of this. There were times that I would fill my backpack up, and I always had a change of clothes in my backpack just in case, like,
too sweaty.
I remember Andrew Begley, our buddy Begley, being like, "Hey, I'm going to the rec center," and I'd be like, "All right, I'll meet you there. We'll go shoot some basketball." There were times when I would get on our shuttle from our apartment to campus, and I would have a change of clothes in my bag, and I would get to the building that my class was in and just be like,
around.
I don't want to do this, and I would turn around and go to the rec center.
Do you remember we were playing basketball, and Bagley was definitely a part of it, and I twisted my ankle because I was trying to hit it like a volleyball.
Yes,
and then like 2 days later, I was in an art class, and I was walking back, and I misstepped on the sidewalk and twisted the same ankle.
Yeah.
But I remember, my gosh, we were in case anybody doesn't know, we all three lived in a dorm together, and we were the hall monitors. And I loved just finding anything. And Begley was a good sport. But he would come in, and that backpack would be filled with God knows from, Andrew Jackson liquors. I mean, he had that thing filled. I'm like, oh, where are you going? And he would smile and stuff because, no one really took us that seriously.
Well, you weren't supposed to have it in the dorm either.
Right. Part of it was like enforcing the rules, but we also knew that, like,
you got to let them know.
People are fucking the showers, but I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to tell Stu what's going on here. I'm not going to tell him what's going on. Yeah, he was 53. And, but it was, I don't know about you guys. I miss that time because
I do too.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
But it's also very much of like, we truly didn't take anything that seriously, even if it was something serious and like we had no participation in. We thought it was funny to point it out as if we had total experience in drinking, whatever the case may be. And people would come up and like in the doors and they bring girls over. We had a good friend, Zach, who lived with us, and anytime a girl came over, it was
we made it hell.
Yeah, I just showed up in underwear and chocolate milk. And
can you imagine? I mean, now that we're older, I just want to say this.
How did it happen?
Can you imagine trying to make love to a woman in your bedroom while the three of us are out there doing who knows what?
No. And it was like, it was a goal. Like, I enjoyed
out to Zach.
Yeah. He was a trooper. And he's still with his wife, Stacy. God bless him.
He's a coach now.
Yeah, at the Green Hills.
I'm not going to be able to post any of this.
He's a real adult.
He is. He's a real adult. But I loved the idea, and we had a friend, Brandon McCall, and like I loved the idea of just taking something that was I mean, in all honesty, was purely innocent. But if I could twist it in any way, I would. I would certainly try. And there's times where we three had conversations, and maybe we had girls that we liked. I had plenty of conversations with Brett about ladies, and it was actually rather serious at the time, which seems stupid now, but it brings me back to. So Brett's birthday is in August. It's about a month from mine, and it's always in. And you said sometimes we celebrated because in where we lived, the county fair,
which is now the
Wilson
state
County
fair,
which is the state fair,
biggest fair in the state, and it's
always
quite the spectacle.
Always get a little nostalgic this time of year, thinking about like those college days and the excitement of the Wilson County Fair being like the last thing we'd do that summer before we went back to school.
It was a school, yeah.
Like the three of us would go back to Murfreesboro, which was 20 minutes down the road from where I grew up, but. We did have friends that would go to Knoxville, that would go out of state, that would drift away for a little bit.
Some didn't go to college because they were stupid.
Yeah, that too.
Remember?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
STOO.
PID.
But yeah, like it always does this time of year. It's my favorite time of year because I mean, obviously, like football season's around the corner. Fall's my favorite season. It's around the corner, but there is this sort of I don't know what the
There's an innocence to it because we know what we used to do when we were kids.
It brings back memories of like just how exciting it was back then and how many good memories we made.
That was the thing. Like you met a lot of people, you ran into people.
Yeah.
But
certain sights and smells come to mind.
Yeah. But now you guys tell me it happened. I really don't think I was part of the second one, but we were thrown up on
twice.
In at least one of it. And I remember I had this sick ass Abercrombie & Fitch shirt that said Joker, and I thought, oh, this is perfect.
You were hot shit?
I was strutting. I thought for sure girls were going to blow me. I didn't know how sex worked.
Right there on the midway.
I thought for sure for $32 for this shirt, this is bound to happen. And so, but I remember us three, and you guys we were walking by it, and I don't even know what we were doing.
I'm telling you, we were meeting girls.
I know, but I don't think we were in line for any ride.
No. We weren't in line.
Okay.
The text.
Right. I can get with that then.
The call we had was, "Hey, we're in line to get on the Starship Troopers ride."
Oh yeah, which is the thing that spun.
Come meet us there.
Round and round, right?
That
when you
helps
say come,
because I was wondering, were we meeting girls or were we hoping to meet girls?
We were meeting girls.
No. We were already there, and we had. It wasn't like we got there because of them.
Let's make this distinction. We were meeting girls that we thought,
right?
Oh, we've got a shot with.
Right.
But they thought
didn't think of us that way at all.
These are our friends.
Yeah.
I remember putting a cloth over and thought, I'm going to mandible claw them.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they said, "Hey, we're in line." They called and said, "We're in line." Because I don't even know if text.
And the Starship one was a very big ride.
I don't even know if text was a thing at the time, but it was like, "Hey, we're in line to get on this ride. Come meet us here." So we had gone to the ride, not to get on the ride, but to wait for the girls to come off of it. So we were standing at the fence, literally watching the thing spin around in front of us.
And as I have explained it to us, it was like a hot soup.
Hot rain.
And I had, hot rain. I really thought it was raining, but it was warm, and a piece of lettuce was on my shoulder.
It was so gross. I
remember it to this day. But here's the thing. You know what I remember? The lettuce on my shoulder is the part that was on your mouth. And I thought, oh, my God. But here's my question. Do y'all remember which one said, I think someone threw up? Because I did not. I don't think I said it, and I don't think it registered.
In my mind,
I feel like one of you said it, and then it really clicked.
In my mind, the memory in my mind, I felt the hot rain as you described it, which is perfect.
Yeah.
And then it kind of fades to black in my mind.
So
I remember going to the bathroom after the fact and trying to wipe it down. And we were laughing because Stoney talked about how it was in his mouth or on his lip.
So, no, here's what happened.
Okay, yeah.
Here's my memory of it. We were laughing at you because you had this big chunk of lettuce.
Yes.
And we were like, oh, look at this. Can you believe Brandon got thrown up on?
Let me interrupt. One of you said, I think it's raining. Somebody said
it was him. Was
it you?
It was Brett.
Because I thought, this is strange, but I don't think anybody saw a fragment of anything until I said something about
my
shirt, and then it
was raining lettuce.
Yeah, it became a Yeah.
So I said something stupid like, "Oh, look at Brandon! Look at this chunk of lettuce on his shirt," and he goes, "Dude, you've got it on your mouth," and I was like, "What?" He's like, "Dude, it's on your mouth." And I remember reaching up and feeling like this creamy, chunky substance on my lips.
You had a beard then, right?
I did.
Yeah,
I had
you're
a
more
soul
grown
patch.
than we were. All right, yeah.
But I remember thinking like, "Oh my God, this changes everything." And then I looked down, and it was just like
it was on your
specks
shirt.
all across my shirt. And then we were like, oh,
I
what are
remember
we
telling
going to
my
do?
parents about, like, I remember being like huge thing.
We had to tell the girls that we were there to meet, like, hey, we got thrown, which is such a lame thing. We were trying so hard to impress these girls.
Was it? And Brett will know more. Was it for you? I don't remember liking anybody at that.
I don't even remember who we were meeting.
There's a certain girl that we talked about.
I think it was me.
Was it that? Okay.
That year was on me.
I didn't know if that was the next. We skip a year.
But
you haven't gotten to, like, college is what I really remember with you.
It is perfect that we really thought we were cool going to meet these girls, and this is how it turned out.
That's how it turned out.
It's a movie. It really is a movie.
We had to take our shirts off and walk out of the county fair.
We must have had undershirts or something, because I was wearing
a wife beater, which probably
I had a white T-shirt. I think.
In hindsight makes matters even worse.
You just fit in really well at that point.
Yeah, I was going to say Wilson County. Yeah,
but
that's a good point.
That was a. Did we leave right after that? I'm surely we did.
I mean, how do you recover from that?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't just go do something fun after that.
But I do feel like we did tell a few people, like, yeah,
I told,
like, someone threw up on us, like, at this ring around whatever.
I told the girls about it, and that speaks to my ability with women.
I think that's
I was really
instead of just being like, you know what, something came up, we had to bounce. Like, I was like, no, we got thrown up. I swear we were gonna hang out with you guys.
What are the odds? Like, I feel like,
what are the odds of it happening a year later too?
I don't. I think I dodged that one.
This is a core memory for you that neither of us have.
It is, and I don't think any of us remember.
The odds are astronomical.
So
that's
what
why.
Is it the same spot?
So, well, it might have.
Let me tell you. Can I just say, I can't wait till people realize what movie we're going to talk about today after this. But I really want to get to the bottom of it.
Everybody that pressed play on this, expecting to hear 12 Angry Men.
They really are tied together.
You're hearing some Angry Men. I'll tell you that.
I've already noted. Start the podcast at 20 minutes if you want to actually hear the movie talk.
But the second
time, I might have been the only one that got thrown up on. Now that I think about it,
I really, truly don't.
And it wasn't that bad because I kept it going that night. It was like something. I think I took my shirt off. I was wearing an undershirt, so I think I took my shirt off and kept going that night. But it was the same ride.
Well, you had been there before. You were ready.
Before, yeah. And I was like, oh, none got on my face this time or in my mouth. Like, I'll just wipe this off my shirt, take it off.
I do kind of remember that of, like, what are the odds, but I don't remember all three of us getting hit.
You know what it was? I was wearing a T-shirt and one of those, like, remember those, like, plaid short-sleeve button-up shirts that were all the rage?
Yes,
Abercrombie Fitch.
Yeah.
I was wearing one of those. It got on that shirt, so I took it off and just, like...
Right. But, you've always been a beefy boy.
Yeah,
I have been. Boy.
I really am hopeful for the idea of somebody skipping to 20 minutes and just the first thing they hear is none of it got in my mouth this time.
Luckily, we didn't have a story where you had something. Okay, before we get to the
August
movie,
is a core memory month for us.
Yes, it is. And I don't know if this happened in August. Maybe it happened in July, but I literally was talking about this less than a month ago. I talked about the Riverstages.
Oh, man. I miss Riverstages.
And I said, I told my wife.
This is going to turn out to be its own episode because I have a lot to say here.
It is. But and I don't know what you remember of it, and it was definitely because you liked a girl, and I thought, why am I in here? Like, why am I in here? Like, this is not who I am. But I remember, and I have family who are younger than me who have listened to these bands. They've never seen them.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen them. We have seen them. We have gone. Finger 11 did not register with certain people.
I didn't know what you were about to say.
Story of the year, which is part of my story. And I said, there was a thing, and I don't think it even happened the next year. I said, me, Stoney, and Brett, we go to this thing, and it's good. We all know these bands. I said, but for some reason, I think, I'm gonna stand up at the gate, right up front. And I said, there's a buddy of mine, Brett, and there's a girl he likes. I said, but I turn back, and I see Stoney on the pedestrian bridge, and he seems really at peace.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was nice up there. I got the hell out of there.
A great time.
Puddle of Mud's playing or somebody.
Story of the year.
It's right before Story of the Year when he goes up.
Smile Empty Soul.
Smile Empty Soul was there.
That's who I'm thinking of.
And I think Finger 11 was after Story of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my wife's family and everything know who these bands are, and some of them are apparently still touring, which is amazed. I'm amazed. I said, well, I did it because I was with a buddy, and he was with a girl who liked. I said, and then about 5 minutes in, I thought, fuck, I don't really think I should be up here anymore.
Yeah.
Because I can't go anywhere. People are pushing.
You ended up in the pit.
Right, which is the worst thing for me. I can't do that. I will say, Brett and them, you did handle it better. I don't know what came of it, but you did handle it better.
Can I get some credit? I feel like I handled it the best.
You did,
I
and
left
I will
before.
tell you.
Yeah, you had foresight. Yeah.
When I tell this story, I say, I should have just followed them up there because that was my kind of vibe.
It was a great show from the pedestrian bridge.
But I just remember being pushed, and as you're pushed, it's like
you have no control.
I'm being BF'd. And I don't know by who.
Okay.
I don't know by who.
Yeah.
Everybody's swaying to a certain way. And again, it's specifically Story of the Year, which is crazy to me at this point, which I guess they still do stuff. But I'm like, hey, it was a good time and stuff. But I'm like, if I ever did again, because I've talked about where we went to Starwood and we went to the
Buzzfest?
Yes. And with Mudvayne. I'm like,
people were throwing furniture.
I would try to stay away from it. It was fun, but I didn't want any part of it. And I'm like, Riverstages was the closest thing. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. And I think there was maybe one person, like you and someone else and me, but it was like maybe one person between that guardrail.
Mm-hmm.
And I will never forget looking at Stoney, looking down at us. And later I thought, fuck, I should have just gone up there. I really thought, I'm not that big of a fan of this. Brett would be fine, whatever happens.
It would actually
these two
probably
kids.
have helped Brett if you had left.
Maybe, but I didn't even say shit to them because I'm sitting here messing with Keith, who's trying to slip his thumb up my ass. It's not even about them anymore. I'm just like, I get it. I just want to get through, but it was so I remember us having such a good time, and I have told my brother-in-laws, I'm like, I wish you guys would have known these things.
Yeah.
Because literally within a year or two they were gone, and it sucks.
Riverstages, man, we are unlocking.
That was a big thing.
Some core August memories here with Riverstages. Buzzfest was in September.
Yeah.
The Wilson
we recently
County Fair.
talked about what's the one we did at Atlanta?
Warped Tour.
Warped Tour.
Yeah.
Riverstages, that is what you're describing is Sunday because it was all weekend. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Sunday was like the big one.
And to me, it's a lesson in what matters long term and what sticks with you. You know what my biggest thing about Riverstages is? We, Friday night, got there early. We were in the very front row on the river to see Switchfoot.
Yes.
And somebody else after them.
Strokes?
Foo Fighters were the Friday night.
But
we
Strokes?
left.
And the Strokes.
We left. We left the front row for the Foo Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I regret that so
Me
much
too.
now.
I think about it every day.
It was fun, and I remember it, but at the time.
And I don't think we stayed the whole time. I think we
didn't.
left mid-show for them, which
we were sleepy.
What were we doing?
Sleepy.
Yeah, we were just little boys.
But here's the thing. Do you regret making me stand up there now as you see life has turned out and you've met the woman of your dreams?
Yeah. You know, what's funny is also...
Because if I ever saw her, I'd say, you know what? You put my life at risk.
You know what's funny is even the person I had interest at the time, that doesn't matter anymore. But what even doesn't matter more than that was my favorite band at the time.
Yeah, it
and
was.
We waited to meet
for
them to sign something. And I think I was the last one in line.
Yeah.
And one of them said to the other as we walked up, "Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you." And I was so disappointed and just thought, they don't care about this at all. And
Well, no one gives a shit about them anymore because I don't think they do anything. But can we agree? That was an awesome festival. Back
It was.
In the day.
It was
a great time.
I
we did
miss
have a good time.
Riverstages.
And
Yeah.
how cheap it was. Actually pretty cheap.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, I don't know that they could
We
pull something like that off today.
No, they wouldn't be able to do it. We
All right.
literally have talked 35 minutes
30 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
about 12 Angry Men.
Are we ready to talk about 12 Angry Men? Timeout? Okay. All right, we're back. We took a pause to get all of our nostalgia out because we are here to actually talk about a movie. We are here to talk about 1957's 12 Angry Men. This is widely considered one of the greatest films ever made.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys. I had not seen it prior to us agreeing to do this podcast.
Well, you even got scared that you watched the wrong version.
Well, I didn't realize there's a 97.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming it's a remake, reboot.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
With Tony Danza and some others.
Oh,
No,
well, wait a minute.
are you
didn't-
serious?
didn't
I
say
think
there's
so.
more
I think
star
he's-
power.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, write that down.
Jack Lemmon.
Well, no, I'm just making
Jack
a note.
Lemmon. Yes, that's true. Jack Lemmon is in that.
I'm making a note for people to start the podcast at 30 minutes
Oh.
instead of 20
Yeah,
minutes.
good idea.
To
well,
to
who
skip
gives a shit about
the
the Wilson County Fair?
to skip the old men reminiscing about the good old days.
Oh.
Okay, we're just burping into the microphone now.
That came out of nowhere.
I can't edit that out.
My
so.
penis tickled.
Tony Danza is in the 97 version.
Is Jack Lemmon in it too?
Jack Lemmon is
Okay.
in it, which
Alright. Does he play the Henry Fonda character?
I feel like if Jack Lemmon's in anything, then it's good.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, that's true.
Am I mistaken, or was he a producer on the 1957 version?
Jack Lemmon?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, no, can I share something? When I was watching 12 Angry Men, which I had not seen before, I'm glad I did. One of the guys, and I forgot his character's name, is the grandpa in Problem Child.
Really?
Yes.
I had no idea.
He is the one that wears the hat for the most part, and he's one of the last ones to come around before the main guy. And I forgot his name, but his voice sounds the same. But it is him. And he's been in a ton of stuff between 50, 60, 70. He's been nominated for 2 Oscars, but I still remember him as the grandfather in Problem Child.
What a way to be remembered.
Jack Lemmon is juror number 8, who's the Henry Fonda role in the original.
That makes sense.
How about that?
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So, I don't know, where do you guys want to start with this one? Because it feels like a daunting task to kind of take on one of these films that's considered one of the greatest of all time.
I've got something, because I feel like this is said commonly, but I think it's true. People often say something is a perfect film.
Yeah.
I think this may actually be one.
I don't disagree with that.
I don't disagree with it, and I think for what it's trying to do, it's quite flawless. And I, right off the bat, whatever the court case they're trying to decide, having them tell it from their view is, I think, highly effective.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it starts with Henry Fonda's juror number 8 by saying, well, wait. And it slowly becomes something more.
Yes.
And you are literally told, you're kind of being described what's happened.
Yeah.
What is this? What is that? The key witness, how trustworthy is it? And, the glass, there's so many things where they're piecing together and you're piecing together, right? But there's also the performances in general.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's establishing themselves on how they feel.
Yeah.
Henry Fonda's kind of the only one that says, hey, wait.
And it's not even like, I think
Innocent
this kid
to proving
is
guilty.
innocent.
Mm-hmm.
It is, hey, reasonable
Reasonable
doubt.
doubt.
And should we not at least have the conversation
Discussion.
about this? Should we not at least ask the question? And it's a really interesting angle.
I don't think that I've even thought much about, from a big picture perspective, what you just described, which is we do not know what the case is when the movie starts.
No.
And they have to paint the entire picture from their conversation.
Yeah.
And you're getting just their perspectives of it.
Mm-hmm.
So then it feeds into your insight, your prejudice.
Yeah.
How do you see it? How do you classify it? And it's very much relevant to today, which is always, I think, is a case where it stands, it stands against time of what it is and what they're trying to say. And there's a point where, without giving much away, which I mean is from the 50s.
I was about to say, buddy.
Spoiler alert.
But it is one of those that then you kind of bring in personal reasons and how you see someone.
Yeah.
And even when the facts point left, you can't help but look right. And you want to make sense of it. You desperately want to make sense of it. And I think they do such a great job. And I'll let Stoney talk because I know he said something about the way they filmed stuff on how the characters introduced and when you kind of get to the kind of end of the film. But I will say that it is something that is where I noticed it kind of immediately where I'm like, but because of when it's filmed, you're like, well, that could just be the actor and stuff. And and some of it is the sweat. But as it goes on, you kind of realize, and then I end up reading some articles about it where it's intentional. And it's as if you had the person, their life is in your hands.
Yeah.
So that pressure just keeps building. And then, I mean, obviously within the film, they make comments about how hot it is and stuff too. But I thought it was such a nice touch because it's something as easy as coming in and all of them can say, hey, yeah, he's guilty, get rid of him. And, they show him, he's like 18-year-olds, right? But innocent to proven guilty. And to Stoney's point, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. So if there's anything that comes in, then what is it? And what I really liked about it, even way back then, is the pure honesty of, and there's several occasions where I think the sufficient answer is, I don't know.
Yeah.
And if you say I don't know, then that means
there's reasonable doubt.
Reasonable doubt.
Yeah. By the way, didn't even intend for this to happen, for this to be one of the August episodes, but it is one of the sweatiest movies I've seen in quite a while, so it kind of fits with the time.
But it makes total sense.
Yeah, and it is interesting to hear that, like, because it does kind of feel like the tension in this film and the anxiety produced out of it does really ramp up the deeper we get into the film. But what I was telling Brandon earlier, Brett, is that this film was shot when they get in the room. It is a continuous scene for like 7 minutes straight of the camera kind of sweeping around the room. And it's really interesting to watch the characters kind of lay the groundwork for what's to come, because they are kind of trying to feel each other out. Like, what is, who are you? Who am I? Like, what do we believe?
What do we do?
Yeah.
Yep.
So there is this kind of really interesting scene, and I love the way it was shot, but also there's another element of it where the film was shot, or that scene was shot from above eye level, where you're kind of looking down. Everybody kind of feels a little more spaced apart, a little further apart. As the film goes on, we get more tight shots, more close-ups, and by the end, like, we're really focusing on people's faces as they talk, and it's kind of designed to, I don't want to say claustrophobic, but it's really designed to bring you into that room as the tensions rise. And I told Brandon, like, and this is naivety on my part, but to think that this was made in 1957 is like, that's really, really smart, really advanced kind of filmmaking.
Yeah.
And
this was the feature directorial debut of Sidney Lumet.
Yeah. So
and that's a big deal.
That is something that I would hear about a movie made today and be impressed with, much less back in 1957. And so it just kind of adds that layer of depth to the film for me.
Well, and I think the reason that I miss the piece about they're painting the full picture of the case for you, obviously it's there, but I didn't think about it from a big perspective, is because of what you just said, is because there's so much attention given to, not only are they doing that, the way that they paint that picture, they are revealing their character a little bit at a time for each one of them as they go around. And so they're doing both of those things simultaneously.
I haven't seen that much attention to detail since Thomas Jane's The Punisher.
Is that right?
You remember?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a very much of a nice introduction to those characters, and then you start to peel away whatever their motives or prejudice is happening.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a real, I think, a real substantial part of it of, it's not so much, and there's definitely parts of it in the film where it's not that the kid maybe didn't do it, but you don't know if he did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole part of this judicial system that is supposed to work, and you're trusting these guys, which happen to be all white guys,
which I think,
which is another part of it.
Yeah.
And there's one of them where I think one of the best scenes is when, I don't know, forgive me, I don't know the character, but when he sits at a separate table and everybody starts turning their back towards him.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've heard enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets up and turns it. And there's a piece of that says, okay, you're letting too much in, and you're trying to twist this into something that maybe it's not. And it is that, innocent to proven guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think on scenes like that where you kind of let your true colors show, it doesn't always mean that's what it is. And that's what the judge, jury, and executioner actually implies, and what these people have been doing. And there's a couple of scenes where he's kind of like, well, these people, and you know how they do, and it is, and it's very much, and it's very reminiscent of the way people talk today. And it is the fact that it's however many decades old, but there is such a profoundness to it that people today could be accused of it. Is just, it's phenomenal, and they strip it, to me. Lumet strips it down to what the bare essentials are, but you have all these different characters. Even then, in the 50s, if you're going to have all these white men talk about it, there's such a connective tissue to it of who they are and who they're going to affect the life, the entire life of somebody is so well done.
And I think it's a key component of Henry Fonda's character's argument as to why we should slow down and at least talk this through and ask some questions. Is like there's a man's life that's hanging in the balance, but
and it's almost a part of like, what's it going to hurt? Like, tell me why.
Let's at least
right. And then what feeds into that is slowly people start to raise their hand.
Well,
because it's not so black and white.
And the thing I think I love the most about this film is the 11-on-1 angle, where at the beginning everybody says guilty except for Henry Fonda's character.
But like, and it's a no thinker. It's a no thinker. It's
and
sweepingly assumed.
If you think about it, it's not that the facts of the case are changing. The facts are the facts, but throughout this discussion, we kind of see it's not that we're re-examining the facts of the case. It feels more intrinsical that these men are looking in at themselves, and as new information is produced, we are evolving to realize we looked at this a certain way, but it's not. Like, there is room for that reasonable doubt, and it explores those biases that people have to the point that we get to the end and we kind of realize, okay, maybe the answer is outside of the framework of how we view this. it changes perspective for so many of these characters.
It definitely does. And I think I think to your point is it's not that easily decided.
Yeah.
Even though we know that it's easy to do, and it's easy to classify people and say, well, look who they are, look where they grew up, look at their parents, and I definitely think that is the case. But I also really like that there is a step back, and little by little, like from the lady who's the key witness to the glasses, it is very much of a, but what if she didn't? And it's just, and I think what hit me the most is that it is a simple case of they could be wrong.
Yeah.
And if they are.
Or at least it's possible that they're wrong.
And if it is, you can't send someone to life or whatever the case may be. And I think it's very powerful. And no matter what year was made, but the fact that I can watch this today and get a total, just a total engagement of how people see either the court system, how they see justice, how they see people in general. It's important. It's important. And I think what adds to it is they're telling you what part of this case is. So as you're doing this and you're trying to connect the pieces, you're also like, oh, so this isn't concrete.
Yeah.
And oh, yeah, what you said isn't. And then someone else comes in and say, yeah, but forget all that. Here's the main thing. And then they say, well, okay, but what about this? And it reminds me of sort of what, which is kind of is on the nose as far as the title of the film, but Philip Seymour Hoffman, Amy Adams, and Meryl Streep, there's a movie called Doubt. And that's what this does. There is such a dose of doubt that how could you go out and say, yep, you're guilty. And and I think what adds to it, and I think as we've grown up, there's been a lot of cases where it seemed that they should be guilty, but they're not. Yeah. So then what? How much of a guarantee is some of this shit, you know?
There's something that's very pure and wholesome about the way it works together. Yeah. Because even with their biases, maybe the biggest leap of grandeur in 2026 watching this is that everyone would come to a place where they would say, yes, we see it and we agree.
That's true. Yeah. That probably wouldn't happen.
And like, so even those, even the most crooked characters in this movie come to a place of redemption, which
that's true.
That
is true.
That even feels like a leap.
Like half of them, I don't think would ever come to the realization.
Yes.
Yeah. That's true.
And even I was thinking about even the name of the movie, the play. You know, they're not all angry in the same way. Henry Fonda, they're not angry in the way that we would typically think of anger. Henry Fonda is not
rage.
They're passionate. They're all passionate for different things. There's the guy that's passionate about going to his baseball game on time.
Yeah.
Which,
did you know that's a grandpa and problem child?
Is that the same guy?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
How about that?
And he has at least been nominated for a couple of Oscars.
But
as soon as he started talking, I'm like, that's him.
Henry Fonda's.
Yeah, that's right.
Henry Fonda's character is passionate for doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And they all get to there, but you know, some of them are passionate for, we want to see this kind of person go away.
Yeah.
Well,
and they start connecting where he's from and everything else. And the thing is, and I think that, well, what struck me is, I think we're all guilty of it. It's almost like from who they are and where they're homegrown, well, this is, of course, this is what they would do.
Mm-hmm.
But to have that beyond a reasonable doubt, I think, is very significant. And the way they kind of play that out and depict it from these 12 guys is very important, because there's nothing that tells me that in some sense this has happened where your life is on the line, and it's up to these guys and it's up to these people to say what flies and what doesn't, and what reason do they have. But I do love, I think this is what really brings it home, even as Henry Fonda them walk out and he talks to somebody and they tell each other their real names. There is just a sense of how important this system is, and that one day it might be you, and you want the same consideration that was put in with these guys that ended up overturning, where they thought it would be a split to everybody says, yeah, you know what, it's not it, because yeah, I would want that, if you didn't know.
Yep.
So
one of my favorite movies has become A Few Good Men.
yeah,
And I love that movie.
And I've heard it described as a verbal action movie. And I think this could be described as the same. And this really laid the groundwork for movies like that, with the courtroom scene.
Courtroom drama.
Yep.
Now, I will say, you get some people, and you get people that don't know, I'm a huge fan of Jack, where you get the guy up on that stand, and he says, you need me. Don't worry about the other stuff. You can't make the decisions I make. But there is some truth to it. And there is such a depiction of that where it can go a certain way. And what is justice, and how do you define it? And just like, A Few Good Men, given that code red, and then the 12 Angry Men with that saying, okay, does this kid deserve to die? And does he deserve to rot or whatever, and based off. And then I love, and I forgot the actor's name, but I love that the fact that there is a character that brings into it where, because I feel like it's such an honest thing of, you see someone that represents someone in your life, and you think, this is the way I'm going to take care of it, because this is the way I did this.
The guy that talks about his son.
Yes. And this is the way, like, I want to make him a man. He was a man, and then fought me. And so this guy doesn't have any respect for anybody. And you know what? I'm sure that's true. I'm sure there's a lot of people who come in that door and say, he has no respect for this, or this is the way I came from, and depending on what generation it is. But it's such a disservice to these people. And, I mean, who knows how many things have gone by that they didn't deserve it. I mean, and that's something that this film really kind of reminds me of, almost the whole time I'm watching it, is that it's never a straightforward, and it's never, like I said, it's black and white, and that's just not the way life is. But I haven't seen too many films of Henry Fonda, and obviously, if people know, the Fonda family is very much of
They've
Hollywood
done some
prestige.
things.
This is one of his best, and Sidney Lumet knew exactly what he was wanting to do, and how powerful it must be for me to watch this in 2026 and think, yeah, that
It holds
you
up.
put that right now, and you're good.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
I think there's a really interesting reflection on power dynamics at play in this movie too, because when we get to the beginning of this, and it's 11-on-1, and you hear like the guy with the deep burly voice that is telling the soft-spoken man to pipe down. It to me, it kind of felt like, oh, this is a reflection on how, if we're not careful, the most dominant personality in the room may take over.
Who talks the loudest gets
and it's not an accurate reflection of the facts, which we ultimately uncover throughout this film.
Yeah. And that guy that says, like, he has a couple of things that he mentions, and he ends up kind of going Fonda's way.
Yeah.
But if there is, like, there's a point to it. But it depends. Do you want to see it that way? And if not, with some of these characters, how much are you willing to fight for it?
Yeah.
And I think that's very important. And I think that's one of the absolute spectacular things about 12 Angry Men is every single perspective or thought or prejudice is presented in that film.
Yeah.
And none of it seems that impossible to be under.
Mm-hmm.
And that means a lot from the 50s to now. I mean, that means a lot.
Mm-hmm. There's also some, like, somewhat minor things, but just from a storytelling aspect, the walking across the room to pace out how long it would take to get to the door to open. Like, I love those scenes. I think they're so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the little things like that where they're like, well, who cares how much it takes? But the thing is, are you talking about a difference of 25 seconds?
Yeah.
Because 25 seconds means life or death for this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And I think I'm sure as audiences watched it in the 50s, especially as you watch it now, that's important because it could mean a difference of who you think is guilty and who really isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important. But that was a great thing. They're like, well, he has a limp, but do this. And it's like, okay, like I love the way they connected to this murder mystery because you're only listening to what they say.
Yep.
You're not.
You
a
never
part
get
of the
outside
trial.
the room.
That's right.
Yep.
It's only what these men, and of a certain white men, are telling you how you're going to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And Henry Fonda is our guiding light, and he does a fantastic job.
We've talked a little bit about how like stereotypes and biases kind of play into the discussion here. And throwing up at the fair. Sure. We've talked about that quite a bit today too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I also think there's something to be said for the assumptions that are made. Like you alluded to it a second ago, where it's like, I don't know how many times I heard a character in this film say, well, you all know it.
Yeah.
And
without saying certain words, they're kind of shouting it.
So one of the things is they say like, well, oh, he says he's going to kill him. I'm going to kill you or whatever. Yeah. One of my favorite scenes, maybe my favorite scene in this entire film, is when Henry Fonda's character gets the guy to kind of lose his shit a little bit, and he says, I'm going to kill you. And then he says, it hits so hard.
Do you mean that?
Surely you don't mean you'll really kill me. As an illustration, this movie does such a good job of navigating the gray area that the reasonable doubt concept is. That scene in particular to me was like, oh, you can't do it any better than you just did there.
Yeah, yeah. And the look, like the rest of the group knows.
They see it. Yeah.
Okay. Reasonable doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'll tell you what, when I was watching, I thought, if Henry Fonda was wearing that Joker shirt, how would he react? Because I don't know if I did the right thing or not, but if he had lettuce on his Joker shirt, how would that be?
That's curious.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
We can end it here.
I'm also curious, because I was thinking about this in 1957. Obviously, I was not alive. My parents were only 6 years old when this came out, which is kind of wild to think about. But I'm curious, because I saw a couple of reviews mention it. Like how many people was 12 Angry Men like the first glimpse into what the actual process is like? And to think about it in that context, does it amplify how important this film was?
Yes, I think so. I think it introduces, if you haven't before, this story of just how things can get away from you, even if you think you are so sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then it introduces your own prejudice of who you think that person is.
Yeah.
And what they're capable of because they're in this neighborhood or their family or their race, whatever the case may be. I think so. I do think there is a certain kind of empathy watching it today than it was in the late 50s. I think we do understand more. I think we also get, it doesn't have to be maybe that specific race, but I think we also understand the way just racism works and the way that if someone looks different than you, then how do we combat that? How do we keep you from this? And how do we say that this is fair and this isn't? I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff that could be applied to it, but I do think there is something about a film that resonates, and it doesn't matter how old it is. You know what they're talking about, and you know whether it's the right approach or not. There's something to it all, and I think it hits harder. And I think you can replace this word with that word, and you're here. You're with it. You're right. And I think that's what 12 Angry Men does, and it's something, again, it signifies something that has always kind of haunted this country, and the way that we do things and the way that we think that people are guilty.
Fair enough. Well said. Anything to add to that, Brett?
I was just thinking there's almost a third layer in that of whether it's contextually someone in the 50s, 60s seeing this to now, 70 years removed. Even with what Brandon was saying, that hopefully we're not carrying those same biases, but
right.
You hear the evidence, and it's easy to think, oh, well, the lady saw him. So,
right.
okay.
He's guilty.
Or the person heard someone scream. Like, so yeah.
It sounds so easy.
It all lines up. And
Yeah.
so it even no matter where I think that's one of the things that makes it so timeless, is no matter where you view it from, it causes you to kind of reinvestigate those things, even in yourself.
And to take that second look and say, okay, she saw it, case closed. But what if it's this? What if it's that? And honestly, I have done jury duty once before, and mine was not like this. I got in there and slammed my hand down and said guilty, and they said we don't even know what we're talking about, and I said he's guilty.
Yeah, I was going to ask which one of the jurors best represented you.
He had blonde hair with AC/DC shirt, and I say guilty. Send him to life in prison.
You hadn't even heard the charges yet.
No, I haven't. No.
Guilty,
I told them I need to go poop. But I will. But for them, it truly is such a profound thing of thinking that you know, and it's judging on who you are, where you've come from, who your parents are, the kids, and like the guy where his son had left him and he fought him want to be a man. There's so many things introduced to that I think is certainly an element to everything you do. Mm-hmm. But then the question is, how do you judge that? Because you are sending someone to something. And how sure are you? And if you're not that sure, there's room. The thing is, what I loved about this movie is, and it's mentioned several times, is let's discuss it. Mm-hmm. And
ask the question.
And it seems so outrageous, but at the end of the day, it is one of those that says, make it make sense then. Make it make sense.
And in 2026, how much better off would we be if we were willing to say, hang on, let's think about this for a minute,
and
rather than
have
just
that
respond.
kind of conversation.
Yeah.
Because even in the 50s, there is a very much a group that says, I want to go to my family. I want to catch a baseball game. There's not that much thought behind it, but sometimes it takes one person to say, tell me why.
Yeah.
And you know, and again, it's make it make sense. And the difference it makes for one person. It's one of, in a strange way, it's one of the most hopeful films you can watch because the tides turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Would you guys be surprised to learn that this did not win Best Picture that year at the Oscars?
No, because there's so many situations where something should have, like Brokeback Mountain should have won instead of Crash. So
this year it went to The Bridge on the River Kwai.
Oh, I never even heard of it.
I remember that one.
Oh, do you?
I don't.
Yeah.
Is Meryl Streep in it?
No.
I bet she is.
Well, I don't know. Let me take a look
you don't
here.
know that.
I don't know that for sure. 1957. It is starring William Holden, Alec Guinness, Jack Hawkins. I don't see Meryl Streep anywhere on here, Brandon.
Okay.
I may be jumping ahead, or I may be asking for things we aren't prepared to share. But do you have like where this ranks on some like best pictures of all time things?
I bet you it's one of those that people
it's
think
high.
it should have won.
It's high.
I know, like reading through some of the tidbits, trying to pull notes for this show, it is on a lot of lists of.
I know it's on a lot of the modern masterpieces,
best films of all time.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes, there's only 63 reviews, but where do we think it's at?
Oh, that's at like 97, 98%.
I would guess high 90s also.
Is 100%.
Yeah.
Good for them.
On Rotten Tomatoes.
Good for them.
Yeah. So and like the rare instance where the critics and the audience is aligned 100% on the tomato meters, with over 100,000 reviews on the popcorn meter, 97%. So, man, I mean this really is. I don't think it's a stretch to say one of the greatest films of all time.
I agree.
I was telling Brandon before you got here, Brett, like watching this, you don't want to say anything reactionary, right? You want to let things sit and think about it for a little bit. But I think this has to be among the top 10 movies I've ever watched.
But also,
it feels
fantastic ensemble.
Yeah, well,
Fantastic
and each
ensemble.
character gets its moment in this film.
And how rare is
They're
it where
unique.
you depict that and say they didn't get this and this and.
It almost feels like the simplicity of it being made in the 50s, that there wasn't what there would be today.
Yeah, sure.
That's true.
You talked about the expert filmmaking, but today somebody would be starting the movie from the place of let's do it this way.
Yeah, sure.
And it almost feels like the simplicity is what allows that breathability for the characters.
I remember seeing this and thinking, I wish he would have gotten that problem shown. I wish he would have straightened that ass out.
Yeah.
But he was nominated a couple of times. I was shocked, but yeah, I agree. It's to stand the test of time in this day and age really means something. And watching it now, I was so much enthralled by each thing they said and the way Henry Fonda the way this character moved. But then as certain characters would express kind of their true intentions, the reactions of it. And like that one where everybody kind of gets up and turns their back, like that to me was very powerful in the fact that like they know like that's not what this is.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody's kind of standing for something.
Yeah.
But Henry Fonda's Journey to Braid is like, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Tell me. And in the way that they do it, they're like, he's guilty. He has to be. But little by little, they kind of scrape it by, and you're like, could it be true?
The reasonable doubt comes into the
and they're like,
equation.
hey, what if he does again? And he's like, he might.
Yeah.
But there's such an honesty to it but this is now, and I don't think this is
we don't
what it
know.
is.
We
There's
don't
too
know.
much. And I think what I love the most is that kid could have done it. He could have absolutely done it.
Well, and they say that several times in the film.
But you leave that film and you think, they've made the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
He should go free because there's not enough behind it. And I think, and then you kind of tack on kind of the race, age, and everything else, and you're like, you know what? It's a second chance that's deserved. And I'm glad that these guys, from all different walks of life and thoughts from the moment we meet them say, okay, you have that second chance. And then you think of all the people who have been wrongly convicted, who have that second chance, and how much it means. And then you're thinking of a film in the late 50s that says the same thing. It's
profound.
It's absolutely astonishing to me.
Yeah.
Yep. That's great.
We've reached the end of my notes. Brett, do you have any parting thoughts on 12 Angry Men?
It's a perfect film.
Perfect film.
Have you? Oh,
go ahead. I was going to ask
have you ever thought about trying to pay me back for my Joker shirt?
Well, it wasn't Brett's fault that you got thrown up on.
I'm sure I was following his lead.
I do, yeah.
No.
Brett was a ladies' man, and I was like, ugh, girls. Ugh.
Maybe we should like do a court case for that.
That
like
year,
a people's court.
Yeah.
That year was my bad.
Oh, it was your fault.
It was.
Thank you for your honesty and vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were at that gate because of me.
And you were focused on someone?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, in our younger days, I always assume it was because of Brett.
Well, we tried to
high school and college sort of kind of led me there, you know?
Yeah.
We tried to court people like they did in like the early 19th century.
Yeah,
like
yeah. Well, let me tell you
horse
something.
and carriage.
We were all gentlemen. The problem is that it just it didn't work.
That didn't go over.
Gals didn't like it that much.
We all landed where we needed to be.
Hey,
that's true.
There we go.
That is true.
Much like the jurors in 12 Angry Men.
Exactly.
Right.
Bingo. When they walk, and honestly, I like the touch of that one character, and they tell each other their real name, and he walks off. That's a nice touch. I like that.
Yeah. That's going to do it for this episode of Movie Review Rewind then.
I'm going to send my Jones soda.
As you can keep up with all of our work at NashvilleMovieDispatch.substack.com. For Brett and Brandon, I'm Stoney, and until next time, you stay classy, moviegoers.